Hey guys. So in this case, I have to say that the ethics of justice are the first that come to mind with regard to policies specifically, and then I'll talk about laws. With policies, I think that some of the breakdown in the initial investigation of this incident was when Mr. Washington brought Ricky to the nurse, and then the nurse, after hearing what was said, called John, the other student, up to question him herself. I think that shouldn't have happened. I think that should be a basic policy that's in place, that if there's any type of altercation of any kind, whether it's adult to student or student to student or anything, that there is a policy in place of who is to question the kids. Everyone is not equally trained on how to question kids or when to question kids or in what order to question kids or how and what to say and all that. So I think that the school nurse would not be the first person in my mind that should do that. And then as this story unfolded, that same student had to be questioned again, which muddies the water for the investigation. So I think that was the first breakdown in policy that should be in place. And then, of course, the superintendent calling the way he did to basically put in play the good old boy type of mentality, which is how I perceive it, without further question, just on the fact of knowing the person personally or professionally for 10 years or so. I think that's a lack of policy or structure in place that would violate the ethics of justice. And then I think that there are some other logistics that fall under the ethical guidelines under justice. For example, were there other adults who witnessed the incident? Were there cameras around? That was just missing information in this scenario. Then I think that law enforcement should have been involved more immediately in this situation, given the fact that an adult is allegedly abusing a child. I think that would warrant, there's an accusation of a type of abuse there. In fact, I looked up some of the Georgia state law on that, and even though it's all alleged right now, some of the potential charges could be cruelty to a child in the second degree because of him allowing another child to be hurt. That's a malicious act or criminal negligence. Another charge could be false imprisonment, which is, detaining a child against his will, and then, allowing harm to come to him. I think had that accusation of abuse not been in there, I don't think false imprisonment would even be on the table. But these are all possibilities, and therefore, I think that policies should be in place to address, that type of altercation where an adult is the accused versus a child. And there are other things. I think one thing that comes to mind is the ethics of care. I don't think that is what was being happening when the superintendent called. I think that was just trying to sweep something under the rug. There's no due process there. I don't see any ethics, in that. Poor ethics, but I don't see anything that would be positive or moral about doing that. I think it would be difficult to tell my coworker, my principal, these things, in this situation, but I think it'd be what I would be expected in my role as a counselor to do. And so that's just my take on it. So I look forward to hearing you guys' thoughts. I know there's a ton of things to discuss with this, and I look forward to hearing it. So I'll talk to you guys soon.